Alright guys, hope it's not too loud. Just had a new head put on, and everything is nice and clean. It's pretty expensive, but they found several lines that needed to be changed. I had changed these hood posts, about several months prior. I thought they were going to be expensive. They're only about 20 bucks. They went through it, every single bit of it. New hoses up here, and we got rid of the leaks. Now that's from the old pressure, because the head was cracked, so it was pushing out coolant. So let's walk around and I'll show you. I mean, everything is all nice and brand new red. Coolant's holding good. And you can see the brand new part. Everything else, there's not a leak anywhere. They have done quite the job. So, they've replaced a couple of lines back here. Everything's getting older. $1.29 million miles. So the whole thing is that I had to take it in. We thought it was O-ring difficulties on the injectors, but I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go and sit inside and I'll talk to you in there and make it help a little bit. Well, now we can see the inside of the head itself. I wanted to step in and show you these still photographs. 1.29 million miles, and it was in not that bad a shape. The amount of carbon buildup, or the lack of it, I've seen engines with carbon buildup that had chunks that would fall off when you pull out the valve covers. But it's a dual overhead cam, and you can see there's the main bearings. Really no bronze, copper, whatever showing. There was a few light marks, but they were easily polished off the crank. The crank did not have to be turned. So Schaeffer Oil saved my bacon. There's a picture of the overall parts, all the stuff that got yanked, including the head gasket in the back. And in a second here, we'll show you some of the head bolts, and they weren't that good a shape. So a lot of them had to be replaced. So another shot of the bearings. If you can pause the video, you can see it's really not that bad a shape. I was absolutely amazed. So we'll get around to the head bolts, and some of the head bolts were kind of rusty and not too good a shape. Of course, they did get replaced. A lot of other gaskets, O-rings, various pieces, parts had to be replaced, but that's to be expected. Okay, now we are back. I was out changing a wiper blade, put a brand new one on, just like this one. I always keep an extra spare, but I was getting over where the wiper was going over, and then it was going over the curve of the windshield, and it stopped. And I was like, okay, that's not good. So when I pulled into Laredo, TA, I looked at it closer, and you could see where the rubber was a little bit whooped. And I decided, no, let's go ahead and pull that one and get that, because everything was working good the other day, but it never fails. It just when you really need it, So we got a new one. I mean, you could turn it on full blast. The intermittent wasn't working too good. It wasn't a blown fuse or anything. Everything worked. It was just hanging up because it wasn't carrying through with the power. So when you put it on low, it was steady. I had wipers, but that was one of the things that you had to do. Now these are different. You see that? See that hole right there? That has a small bolt and nut, nylox, that locks it in. Freightliner Classics have the same 15-inch wiper as Kenworth T660. They're both the same. So if you changed over, from a Freightliner Classic I had several wipers left over, and I just carried them over because I saw they were exactly the same. It's a real positive connection. You don't have to worry about plastic clips. You know, it's a little more inconvenient when you have to stand up there and thread that little tiny nut and bolt, and you know, and you're balancing on standing on the tire. So I had to turn the engine off so it wasn't jumping when the engine fan. That's all I need, is to go head first dumped into the ground. I don't need that. So we got that done. Now, we just saw in the previous video the brand new head. You could see that everything, you know, is nice, fresh orange paint. There's not a lick of coolant or oil or anywhere. And my oil is sparkling clean. Everything is good. I've checked it. It's just going to take me a while to dig out of that hole. So it cost quite a bit, but the thing was, we thought, when our first analysis is, when I always check my primary fuel filter, and I watch, and I might see a little asphaltene, I might see a little this, that, or the other, but what I saw was red globules, and that water and fuel do not mix, and it falls to the bottom. So I make sure I pour it out slowly and cupped in my hand over their receptacle, usually in the PM locations. I ask them if I can do this. I tell them I just have to keep track. It's just me. When I got to the bottom, I went, oh no, here was red globules of coolant in my fuel filter. Okay, so I started making my calls, and I got a hold of Cummins, and they said there is a service bulletin, and I'll see if I can throw that in there. Hope they don't mind. I think I have a actual copy of that, and it showed that there was issues with the O-rings, and I thought, okay, that kit's not that much money. That's not too bad. Pardon me. So I talked to the mechanic, and it took me 2 weeks just to get a spot. And the guy's really good, so it took me 2 weeks at home to get a spot. I went over there, and he put the O-rings in, you know, all the service kit, and he was still having pressure, and he was, oh no, more like extra pressure in the coolant system. And he goes, unfortunately, it's either head gasket or a cracked head. I said, let's hope for the head gasket. And that's what he hoped too. But unfortunately, again, the flying fickle finger of fate, if any of you really older guys remember that one, come down and touched me on my forehead and said, you are it. So that's what happened. He had it verified at like Magnaflux, you know, basically they wanted to check for a tiny crack, and there was a very, very tiny crack. Because I had never let it get overheated to a point where it was in like engine shutdown or anything like that. Nothing like that. I did have to replace a radiator a year before, but it had never gotten really stupid, you know. I had a water pump go out, and but it was on the, what is it, return side, I guess, not the pressure side. So, you know, I was still getting coolant, but it was dripping out the return or whatever on that. But I went back through my breakdowns and was trying to think, did I ever overheat this thing? And I never did. So I went back and I thought, well, it's just the way it is. So blame game, checking your act. How well did you do on your making sure that your parts were in a group? So that is pretty much it. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I'm going to try and do more videos because I do have little ones, little shots, or I might have some still photos. and that is going to be the hot ticket. I'm going to try and return back to getting some kind of schedule at least once a week if I can, because I'm off of the contract rate that I was on, and it was all exactly the same. I've said it several times, but for you new folks, that's why if you go back in my archive and just click the videos inside my channel, you'll find 15 years worth, so there's like 165, 170 videos. There should be plenty to go back through, and you'll see me getting gray. You'll see me at the beginning when I wasn't as gray, and now I am. But that's how long I've been on YouTube. So let's just hope, and I appreciate any content or comments you want to do on the content. Great. I'm not going to beg anybody. That sounds really silly, and just I don't want to do that to you guys. If you want to hit a like, great. If you want to subscribe because you're not, good deal. And if you want to tell me something I'm doing wrong, go for it. Or if you want to tell me something right, that's fine too. I appreciate that. I've had people look at these videos from all around the world, and people have come here to go trucking because of mine and several other good trucking channels on YouTube, to come learn how to do flat and step work in America, and I'm glad I helped. I don't run a lot of oversize or anything like that, but I have done some, but I don't do any of the really heavy haul, that kind of thing. There are other people that have great videos out there that'll help you if that's where you want to go and set your sights up for that kind of goal. So I'm going to leave you guys with that one, and we'll try and get another video up, and I guess we'll see you on the road. Okay, here are the two sheets. These are the service bulletins from Cummins in regards to the service repair, the conditions. Mine's the 871, but these pieces of paper should be able to show you what's going on. You can pause the video on each one, and then you can read them. And you should be able to call and get your own copy from Cummins. I'm sure they would help you. Thank you.